Welcome to just a very, very, very special edition of We're Not Wizards, because a little while ago we had a fantastic chap by the name of Kevin Young, who was Scottish, who was running a Kickstarter called Legends Untold, and we had a laugh and a half. You know, me and Kevin had a chat afterwards and said, if the Kickstarter project that he did funded, he would come back in and he would chat about it. Now, joining me tonight is potentially a rather excited and possibly slightly stressed Kevin Young. How are you, Kevin?
Good evening. Yes, well, stressed and excited.
Stressed and excited. I've been joking, and I think I've already said a couple of times that if we kept to a promise and we actually spoke again after you funded, we would have been speaking again about 8 hours down the line.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been a bit of it's a cliche, but it's been a bit of a whirlwind.
This is just, I've not even thought about a title, but I've thought, I guess that there is no way to put it apart from, today a legend has been written, and it's not going to be untold. It's you have been the subject of a few conversations that I've been having kind of on and off, but I just, we did joke about getting you back on, but it seems so good. It's just to give a time check, it is Monday night. It is about 8:15, just to put a proper timestamp on this bad boy. And the campaign finishes when exactly?
Finishes GMT on the 15th.
Yes.
So that's Thursday at 11 p.m.
And
so 3 days to go.
Right. How do you feel just now? How are you feeling just now?
Exhausted, and exhausted, spinning many plates, and I should say, for the benefit of everybody on this call, IG is not just me. Hugh Ducker and Scott Nicely and a bunch of other people are also doing huge amounts of work as well. But in terms of myself, yeah, exhausted, excited, but loving it. We've said it all along, but we hope to get 500 like-minded individuals and make £12,000 and make a game, and we're a bit beyond that now.
A little bit beyond that. Let's pedal it back a bit to the conversation that we had, because we had a chat about the game, and we both publicly said that we probably talked 60% nonsense and 40% about Legends Untold at the time.
I'd say that's generous.
Generous indeed. I don't know what kind of effect the episode that you had. I'm not claiming it. I'm not claiming responsibility. No. But
let's say it was the episode. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's just for livelihood and stuff like that. But then obviously we went away. You did the preparation. You pressed the button. What was going? There was the point where you went.
Definitely stuff going through our heads when we pushed the button. There was a story there, I tell you.
Let's tell us what happened. Tell us the story. What actually happened?
So we were supposed to be ready to go on the. I think we were supposed to originally be ready to go on the Tuesday, yeah.
Yes.
And what happened is that the guy doing you'll get this, doing this line of work. The guy doing the audio, lovely chap, who actually narrates books for a living, audiobooks. He had a stinking man flu. And so he couldn't record. So the poor video guy over in Florida is basically saying, I can't give you the Kickstarter video until I've got the audio to track it against.
Oh no.
So we got Chris, the guy doing the audio. I think I just said Craig. Sorry, Chris. He finally got it to us on the Tuesday, and we had like 2 days to turn it around. So we had to get an announcement out saying, "Okay, we're ready to go," and then get the video done as quickly as we could. We had no chance to do a redraft of it, but thankfully the guy's an ace. We call him Ace, as in Ace Rimmer. Smoke me a kipper is the standard joke nowadays. Have you got your kipper yet, Chris? But he aced it.
I
bet
he loves you for that.
Oh, he does, and I think I think people really took to the accent and stuff as well, which is great. So for all your listeners, it's definitely not me. I don't have that level of diction, Lovey. But it was very good. So we got to the Thursday, ready to go, and I think we were trying to punch the button at 8 o'clock, and it was because, and this is the God's honest truth, we decided to put in the early bird, just to get some interest going, and loads of people said to us, don't limit in terms of numbers because it's not fair for time zones.
Yes.
So we changed it to a 24-hour early bird for any pledgers that wanted it, to give everybody £2, which isn't a lot of money, but actually it is to a lot of people. A lot of people, it's the significance of the £2,
Yes.
And that caused almighty hell trying to push the launch button.
Why?
So because it literally, the system wouldn't accept it as the creator. It just kept on saying you've got to create a date in the future, which we were doing.
Yeah.
And of course, poor Hugh's on the phone saying, just Skype me. What are you doing now, you banana? Anything technical at all. So we got a transatlantic call with Scott in America, in Minnesota, and Hugh.
Yeah.
And you know when you've got that thing where you're doing exactly what you think you're supposed to be doing, and then somebody else just says, just give me it, and they fix it in like 4 seconds.
Yeah, that's called my life.
I was like, great.
That's generally me and everything.
Yeah,
something
so
technical.
Hugh got it going. At 8:15, Hugh got it going, and of course we're looking on Facebook, and everybody is screaming, "Just push the effing button!" So there was no clever, build the anticipation tactic or anything.
I like the fact that on the UK Kickstarter thing, there was that solitary question that came up from you, which was, "How do I make this work? How do I make it go?"
It just would not go, and then it went, and it really went.
Really went. I mean, how quickly was it you funded?
I think it was 6 hours. Yeah.
How did you?
Six hours.
When? Because I don't, as I say, one of the things I'm always interested in, and that's why, we've just released an episode with Mark from the London Board Game Company. We've got an episode with Peter Blenckern, which I'm just about to potentially press the button, because we're having its bumper Christmas time at We're Not Wizards, so we're just kind of releasing lots and lots of nice little dainty episodes just to keep people kind of happy, like having an advent calendar for your ears.
Very nice.
Which is the way we're looking at it. Do you get like little email notifications every single time somebody kind of pledges?
So what I get is, if I'm on the Kickstarter page itself, as the creator, you get this thing called dashboard.
Yeah.
And that basically shows you every time somebody pledges or makes a comment or makes an adjustment, or cancels as well, because people do cancel as well.
Yeah.
So you can see all of that. They also, I do also get a lot of, I think every time somebody makes a comment, I get that sent through to my Hotmail, because when I set it up before we set up IG, just when I was backing games myself, I put it against my Hotmail and I couldn't change it, so that inbox is now wrecked. And whenever somebody says I've sent you an email, I'm like, great.
Yep, that's fantastic. I'm sending you an email about a really, really important work-related thing, which if you don't reply within 5 minutes could have a serious effect on your pension. Well, I'm guessing I'm looking around at another job then, unfortunately.
It's very, very hard to find anything in there. But yeah, that's so we get a lot of that. But the interesting thing on the mobile phone is every time somebody makes a comment, I get that little buzz or whatever. And when you get, one thing I have noticed is when you get to stretch goal time and you've bust through a stretch goal, you get a lot of those little beeps saying, "Where's my update?" People are very, very vocal when they want their stuff, which is nice.
You hit. You get through 6 hours, and it funds, and you're getting notifications coming through, and obviously you're just destroyed your Hotmail account.
Yep.
when it reached the 6 hours and you funded, was there a general kind of, phew, that's it, we've done that? Or was there a general kind of, oh my goodness, we've done this ridiculously quickly? I mean, what was the mood around camp? It's like I'm a celebrity. Doing an Ant and Dec impression.
That's the one we were. We're off to find some trial tucker or whatever it's called. My
bush
wife loves
tucker
that
or
show.
something like that.
Yeah, bush tucker. That's something like that.
Yeah.
It was. I mean, we're definitely elated. It was all a bit insane, to be honest with you, because we genuinely went into this thinking, if we can get in a month, if we can get 500 people and make 12k, then we'll do this game. We'll make a loss on it, but we'll do this game because we've ploughed, as you know, 3 years of our life into it. Yeah. So we're gonna finish it. So for us, actually, the main thing, and I know it maybe sounds a wee bit twee, but the main thing in the project is the validation that there are so many other people that want to join us.
That's what you said. I remember you talking about the presentation that you did to the Whirlwinds. Is it the Whirlwinds layer?
Yep.
And saying that put your hands up if you like this, put your hands up if you like that, put your hands down if you don't kind of have time. So you were looking for, you were looking for kind of fans, but you were also looking for like-minded individuals. I mean, it sounds like you've found a reasonable amount of like-minded individuals. I mean, moving forward, it started to rocket. It
really has, yeah.
Did you, when you sat down, is kind of like, did you plan out with Hugh and with Scott to say, okay, let's have a chat every night, or let's have a chat every couple of days, because you were expecting it to kind of pedestrianise along? What's happened? I mean, has it got to the point where you're kind of having to have a wee chat every couple of hours? I mean, has your internet been ablaze with kind of instant messages going back and forward between each other?
Yeah, as ever, there is an anecdote.
Well, I think we need to hear this.
Hugh would be in stitches on this one. About 7 months ago, Hugh said, Kev, it really is about time you've joined the rest of the world and actually started using instant messenger, because I just used email for everything. So I had no instant messenger, and I was using a BlackBerry, believe it or not.
Okay.
And exactly. So you can imagine it was some fairly slow turnaround time, but I was very methodical in the emails. And now, yesterday, I actually sent an IM to Hugh saying, you really regret ever showing me IM, and he was like, I really do, because now I've got to try and keep up with your chaos, 24/7, rather than here's a long email and I'll respond to it. So to be fair to Hugh, he's got me back into the discipline of some more complex stuff. Spoilers, but for example, the 100k stretch goal that we're trying to do.
Yes.
There's a lot of thought being put into that, actually. And I was just wanting to do it over IM, and rightly so. He was like, Kev, Jesus, just email it to me and explain it. Try to explain it. Do a join the dot or something. So that's kind of where we are with it. So, yeah, I speak to Hugh and IM most of the day, and Scott as well.
Who's Scott? Because I don't mention Scott wasn't mentioned the last time. So is he a new addition to the Inspiring Game family?
Yeah, Scott Nicely is our graphic designer for Legends Untold, our first game.
Yes.
And we're pretty much said to him we want to use him in all our games.
Yeah.
Because the stuff that we're not daft that a lot of the reason that people will at least look at the game is because it looks shiny, yeah? I'll clarify shiny as in, and it looks nice, because somebody did actually say to us, oh, you mean you're going to make it shiny? I said, physically shiny. I was like, no.
No, we're not doing the UV cover or anything like that. But
that's just the laminate on the cards.
I think that one of my good friends, Charles Turner, Vader Van Oden, who I think you had, yes.
He's a Kiwi, isn't he? Yeah.
Yes, he is, yes, and he's a lovely man as well. But I think one of the reasons that he stepped in and says he was going to back it was because he really, really liked the artwork. So he was, and looking at it, it's you've got a keeper there.
Yeah, no, he is. He's brilliant. I mean, and that was actually something that we learned, that what the difference is between an artist and a graphic designer, because we didn't know, and people had mentioned it, but until you actually done it, we just weren't aware.
No.
And it is massively different. I mean, Scott, he basically tries to make sure that all the card templates talk to one another. He spends a ton of time explaining why you should use a specific font or typeface rather than another one.
Yes.
Iconography, and just like it's amazing that every time you see somebody putting up a banner ad on Board Game Geek, and when you actually see the effort that goes into making them, you kind of actually get a bit more respect for them.
Yes.
You're like, actually, that's a lot of work to make that.
It's not just somebody sticking an image and then sticking a text box on and just
it's
typing
really
it away.
It's really not 2 minutes work.
No, I'll stick
so
Tahoma. I'm going to use Tahoma.
Yeah, that's it. Here's something I pulled out on PowerPoint earlier. No, and here's the Richard and Kev clip art version. That'll do, right?
Yeah, that's the way that we roll, and that's the way we're keeping it as well. But so you're having kind of regular messages going back, and then you hit 24K, and then you hit 36K.
Yeah.
And then it's starting to get kind of silly. One of the things that Mark mentions in his episode is that you basically, when you've got a Kickstarter doing reasonably well, that it's kind of a kind of almost like an economics of scale. That the more money they have means the more stuff you're building. But by having to build, say, printing out 1,000 units instead of printing out, say, 500, can make a cost. It makes a difference to the cost per unit because you're actually asking to print out more.
Yeah.
Is that made you having to sit down from a project management point of view? Then you're sitting there going, right, okay, we have to potentially readjust our costs for this now. Is it enabled you to do slightly different things, maybe better?
So we'd always got everything quoted in 1,000, 2,000, or 5,000 copies, because we kind of took a decision on this that let's hope we can get 1,000. I know I mentioned 500 earlier, but 1,000 was the hope.
Yes.
And that's usually the kind of minimum production run. So we'd worked on that, but we'd pretty much we'd actually planned out all of what we wanted to do with the stretch goals, not necessarily when they would hit, because that you've got to be a bit tactical with that.
Yeah.
But what we wanted to do and the vision for what we wanted to give people. So believe it or not, pretty much everything that everybody's getting, or fingers crossed will be able to get, the treasure chest at 100K. We all figured that out about 2.5 months ago.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was all there, but it's but there was a couple of things that didn't go so well for us that was a challenge, and it's the main thing was when we launched it. We launched it as here's the cave set. It's £19, as we discussed. For a lot of people that's good value for money.
Yes.
And it went crazy and it funded really quickly.
Yes.
But of course, then we got to this 50K mark, and we always wanted to launch the sewers. The second set, we always wanted to do it because we regarded it as that scale of game. But of course, a lot of people came back and said, "Whoa, what's this? I thought I was getting a small box, a small game. This is awesome. It's quite quick, and I'm done." Suddenly now you're telling me this is potentially a £40 buy or something, and we have kind of repeatedly said you do not need to buy this. We can't win that argument with everybody. There are, as you know, completionists out there. Bless them, and we respect that. But genuinely, you don't need to do it. But we haven't won that argument with everybody. And with hindsight, we probably should have made that clearer on day one. But what we found was that when we were making the game, that actually people, you can go on about that and the world and everything else to your heart's content, but until you can show them this is a cool game or it's fun to play, what is the point?
Yeah, I know.
And it's and how much do you swamp them with on day one? So that was the challenge.
And then is it not the case that if you're saying, well, you can get this, but you can also get that, but you can get this, and you can also get that, then it puts people off because in for the way that the game has come across and looking at the videos and stuff like that, it's obviously very, very quick to learn, but there's a level of depth in it which which is massive there. And you don't want to over confuse people and over complicate the issue that they're going to end up thinking, well, is this going to be a massive rabbit hole I'm not going to get out? But so you have to kind of time that. So I mean, it really starts to ramp up, and you've got your stretch goals and everything kind of laid out there. How much have you slept?
Yeah, that's a good question. So it's we're trying to make this work for the family as well, which it isn't at the moment. Yeah. But I keep saying to my long suffering wife, it's 3 days. It is 3 days.
Yeah, it is relatively 3 days, and then there's 6 months production.
Yeah, 6 months production. So
does she know about the production yet?
Yeah, she does. So to all the backers out there that do listen to this, I'm going to say that I'm going to return to a more normalised working pattern when we're in the production stage. But right now, I try between Hugh and myself, we try and have somebody on shift most of the day to answer the questions. One of the big standouts that I'm really, for me this is incredibly important, is that the backers are to an extent paying for our time, and therefore and to me that's actually a huge deal, and therefore if they ask a question they should get a response. So we're trying to apply our own kind of chatty brand around that, and it depends who's on shift. If they ask Hugh a question, they'll get a 1-line response.
Yeah.
And if they ask me a question, they'll get a 12-line response, but they'll get the answer. And that's the main thing. So I think for us, we try and have somebody on shift at all time, and also, when we can fit it around, real life, we do so. So for example, just as you and I were setting up this call and you said I've just got the kids to bed,
yes,
I was like, yeah, ditto.
But then at the same time, if you'd said to me, listen, I'm far too busy, then I would have just went, right, okay, that's cool. Because I can't even begin to think kind of what's kind of currently going through kind of your minds at the moment, your collective heads at the moment. Are you approaching some kind of Zen state of calmness where it's like, well, nothing else really can happen unless we get because you've been on the front cover of Kickstarter, haven't you? Have you been on the front page yet?
We've been at the start I think we were like the third highest trending project in the world, and yesterday we were the second highest project of anything on KickTrack, I believe, behind a very successful 3-letter Kickstarter campaign, which I'm sure you're aware of just now, with lots of miniatures and some very high funding.
Yes.
Which is going great guns. I probably won't go into it any more than that. I think fair play to the guy, he's doing incredibly well. But somebody did think that we might suffer because of that, but I don't think that has actually happened, because it's a very different game.
I think that I don't know. I mean, to be perfectly honest, I mean, I can't see the same type of person putting money into your project and not putting money into, KDM, but it's a massive difference in terms of the cost. I mean, there's a lot of them are doing both, but yeah, it's stratospheric in terms of the difference. Yeah. I can't see somebody saying, "Oh, I'm not putting money into this because I'm going to sink 200 large ones into KDM." The type of person that says, "I'm going to sink 200 large ones into KDM" is probably the type of person that says, "And I'll have that one there as well, just because it's funding quite well." Okay.
Yeah, I think there is that, and
it's fundamentally two different games.
It's a very different.
It's game. A very, very different game, and I think it's difficult. I don't think you can really compare. Well, I certainly wouldn't compare like for like.
No.
Unless you are planning, of course, to deliver everything by 2020.
Yeah.
which is a different thing,
Well,
you know.
we're trying to commit to that, backers. Just so you're aware. No. We're still hoping to do June, July next year. Is the plan, and all the stretch goal content that we'd mentioned we planned out 2.5 weeks ago. That doesn't change that because it is. Oh, I'm going to give spoilers away. It's all part of the same process. I'll leave it at that. Because some genius on it did say, "Oh wow, you're actually going to give us this wooden chest." So I'm going to burst that bubble just now. That's not happening. We're not going to carve out some sapient pear woods and give everybody a chest. That's not going to happen.
I mean, looking back with only a couple of days to go, is there anything that you? I mean, it sounds like a daft thing to say, but is there anything that you would maybe do or have done differently?
Oh, tons. No, it's not daft at all. Tons of stuff. The early bird thing, I genuinely want to speak to the backers at the end of it and see how important that is to them, because it makes it incredibly difficult to do add-ons, which we didn't realize. Once you've got your early bird,
Yeah.
and then they want to add on another set, basically they have to modify the price of the reward. Whereas anybody who doesn't have early bird, they may as well just come out of their current pledge and go into the new one. So imagine explaining that every single time.
Yeah.
We probably spend a quarter of our life just explaining that. And then there was a couple of errors in the way that we actually put rewards up, because at the 40-ish K mark, I think it was. It's an insane number when you say it, isn't it? At the
You have
40K
to get
mark,
used to it, don't you? You have to say,
I know,
this,
it's crazy.
when we reach 14K, and you're like, that's
Yeah.
fine. 14K, I'm comfortable with. When
Yeah.
we reach 40,
40, yeah.
40.
It's a crazy number.
I know.
When we hit that 4-0, there were a lot of people who were basically saying, just push the button on the sewers, just push it, do it. And we were saying that we don't even have a box art to show you. We can mock one up and show you the concept art. I was canny enough to have had about 9 pieces of concept art commissions, so we had something to show. But we really weren't expecting to be doing that till now, really, last week of the campaign. So of course they all chased for it, and then we had to draft a reward update out as we go, and you put it out, and there's an error in the pledge. It's just the way a bit of punctuation in, but it reads as if you get either 2 caves sets and a sewer set, or caves and a sewer set, which makes no sense.
No, it
of course,
doesn't.
it should
No,
either be
no.
yeah, but you can't change it because we've now got 1,000 odd people backing it, and you can't edit it. So that's a big one. Early birds, and be very, very careful with how you word your pledge, your pledge rewards, because you can't change them. Another thing for us is the updates. We did have a bit of a day yesterday. Oh, sorry, no, there's 4 things, if you come in.
It's a
So
Spanish
those 2
Inquisition.
Yeah, 4th thing. Soft pillows.
These are 4 things that we do in the...
Fluffy pillows. Yeah. The 3rd thing was actually, that was a big learn for us, was the exclusivity thing, exclusives, because we were being pushed and asked from a lot of people, is this going to be exclusive and stuff? And I guess we've always tried to say, that we're humble in this, and it's our debut game, please be supportive. But we put something out saying that here is some exclusive content, and then a lot of people came back and said, well, that's kind of stupid because you're just going to hack off the non-Kickstarters, down the line. And we thought about it, what it actually meant, and actually it really wasn't what we intended. It wasn't our values. Our values are very much, if you buy it now, you can get it, and you'll get a good deal on it, so you get the boosters for free. But we want the ability to sell those at a later date, the exact same content, so that A, everybody's playing the same game.
Absolutely.
And B, it's it's retail sensible for small.
Yeah, I mean, let's look at it. It's like, I mean, I have a bit of a slight bit of a bugbear with Kickstarter exclusive content, because I sometimes find it's almost like a ransom situation, and it can push a pledge up from, in many ways by an extra 15, 20, 30%. I don't mind something going into retail later on. Say for instance, Dungeon Saga. Yeah, there's been a couple of expansions that have been released, but there wasn't really much that was kind of Kickstarter exclusive. So I can now walk into the local kind of comic shop that I know and very, very well.
Mm.
And they have it sitting on the shelf so I can pick it up. If you said that I couldn't get that and I had to, I guess, stretch myself financially, I don't know if you've got the right to dictate to people kind of, you should be buying all of this now in order to. Do you know what I mean? Otherwise,
no, I do,
and
that's exactly it. We that's not, as I said last time, there's no way we're going to criticise anybody else's game or the way anybody else does their business. But for us, as a new company trying to build a brand, we just thought about our roots, and your roots are very similar to mine, and it was not everybody
Slightly
can
greying.
afford 50 notes just now. Slightly greying. Not everybody can afford that kind of money just now, and we never want to be that business.
No.
And actually, so it was a really difficult one. We made that decision and we had to apologise and say, just to clarify, we are not going to have exclusive content here at all in this game.
Yeah.
You are going to get a huge deal by buying this compared to what it would be available at retail.
You're basically one of the first guys to support us. Therefore, we're rewarding you by giving you content that otherwise you would have to buy normally. So I don't see anybody having a kind of an issue with that.
No.
Very
few do. A few people said, "Don't sweat it, you might lose a couple," but actually the fallout of that was very limited, which was great. What we had yesterday was an issue on frequency of updates, and again that was a learn from us that we had 4 public complaints about the level of updates because they were getting too many, and so we had to manage that. Somebody said, you keep giving us an update every time we bust a stretch goal when you've given us 3 in a day. And we kind of, and these are customers, so you're going to listen to them. We're not going to just argue with people for the sake of it. So we had to basically call a halt to it yesterday and say, we're going to do no more updates today, guys, but we will get on top of this tomorrow. And so we just sent out a monster update today, which covered off 3 different things. But it was hard because there's a lot of the vocal guys on the comments section, and it's a vocal section. I'm looking at it just now. There's 2,600 comments up there roughly, and they were all basically saying, "Well, I want my updates. If people don't want them, here's how to switch them off, so to speak." So that was a toughie, and we had to kind of walk that line. But somebody else did say, "Look, if that's your biggest problem, mate, you're doing all right."
That's it. Okay.
There are much bigger issues out there.
So, apart from those things that you've had to learn, is there stuff that you will take forward going into the next campaign? Because I'm guessing that reaching the funding level that you have, is this made kind of you going forward and doing the next game almost like a certainty?
Yeah, I think so. It's subject to reconciling all the accounting.
Yes.
And the good thing on that is that, to be fair, I haven't had any comments from backers otherwise. They all get it that, yeah, it is a big number. I'm not going to shy away from that, and it's fantastic.
Yeah.
But there is an absolute ton of fees and artwork to be paid for out of that. So it's we're not on the beach or anything by any means.
No.
Maybe go to Silver Sands, but that's about it.
It's £1.50 parking to get into that car.
Is it? Well, we're not doing that then. No, not unless somebody pledges again. Oh, they just have. No, I'm joking.
Burnt Island.
Burnt Island.
Go to Burnt Island where the shows are over anyway.
There we go. We're reverting to form now, aren't we?
If you don't know where Burnt Island is, people, then Google it. If you don't know what Silver Sands is, it's in a place called Aberdour. You should Google that as well. They're both kind of places where probably me and Kevin went as a couple of lads.
Yeah.
On a regular basis, dragged down there with the family.
Dragged down there
for the ice cream van. But you see that Silver Sands has now got itself a nice little cafe and everything like that.
I didn't know that.
Oh, yes.
Right,
it's worth the price of the £1.50 admission.
But so yes, but because of I'll maybe go and cogitate in the cafe at Silver Sands.
No.
But yeah, no, the plan would be we've actually got our second game, which is mostly Hugh's baby, Lord of the Horde.
Yes.
It's actually ready to go, bar the artwork. So We will be hoping to launch that as soon as we can. But of course, for us, what we need to do is fulfill this puppy first and show that we can do it, and then we're trying to have a regular release schedule after that.
Is it difficult to stay grounded when the first game has done so well? Does it make you more nervous to be releasing the second game when you've basically managed to to create a lot of people would say a behemoth? I mean, we both swim around the same circles, and we know where
we call it a beastie.
Yeah, and we both know where the funding has been for a lot of people that are on the same kind of Kickstarter group that we speak to.
Yes.
And is that are you thinking, people are always going to wonder what's going to happen with the tricky kind of follow-up second album, I guess.
I mean, it's I guess it makes us have a confidence on the Legends. People have used the F word, the franchise word.
Yes.
Now, just because there's a lot of backers have come back and said, I cannot wait until you guys get the next.
Yes.
When we put up the video and stuff, we showed the additional ranks that you would progress into as you played the game, and people are loving that, and that's good. So that gives us a lot of confidence that it will grow.
Yes.
But as paranoid that it might not work for your second game. So I guess all we can do at the moment is try and be the nicest, chattiest, and bestest people we can on Kickstarter, and we think we're doing a good job of that. We do make mistakes, but we try to do well, and we try as much as we can. People say, well, what's the magic? And we just say, well, we just tried to make the best game we can.
I think it's very clear from the updates and from the fact that you've you've proven yourself to be kind of just humans at the end of it by going, oops, sorry, we used something we didn't realise wasn't kind of a wooden figure of ours or something. I remember that one, and
yes,
and just the update one that say, we made too many updates, so I'm sorry about that. But I think that's kind of given you a certain level of humility that I think people kind of like for some reason, because they've. I don't think anybody that has come into this or anybody that's followed you has thought that you were. Look at it this way: you want another kind of maybe another Cool Mini or not, that had set a funding goal of, a funding goal of 50,000, safe in the knowledge that it was going to bust through that within the first kind of 10 seconds of it going live.
Yeah.
I think there's always seems to be a general air of pleasant surprise around kind of things that you do, and I think you're certainly generally. You're a great, really great guy to speak to. We had a laugh the last time. I mean, it's a bit more serious this time because,
Yeah, what have you done there, sir?
I just got to have a balance, because it's generally, it's like before.
Why are we backing this guy otherwise?
And then it's like now it's kind of like, Kevin Young, his middle name should be changed to Serious Business.
I like it.
In terms of, with what you're doing in terms of, I know this is going to sound a big stretch and stuff, and this is going to be strange, but in terms of things like your day job and your career and stuff like that, has that kind of instilled you personally with a kind of a sense of kind of accomplishment and confidence and stuff like that? Do you mean has it kind of affected you on a personal level at all in terms of how you feel as yourself?
Do you mean what I've got out of the Kickstarter?
Yeah, not just like
on the Kickstarter.
The game. Yeah, I mean, how do you feel? I mean, with only a couple of days to go now, 3 days to go now. How do you feel it's going to help? It's like flipping X Factor. Do you think you've gone on a journey, Kevin? Get it?
I think it's. How do I answer that? I think it's very interesting. I'm very grounded because I, like yourself, know the value of a quid, and know how hard it is to earn one of those. So we don't take anything for granted at all. Inspiring games, and also I guess what I've got out of it is developing that thicker skin, because we get you go into Board Game Geek, you can't help it because it's done wonders for us being
Yeah.
on Board Game Geek.
Yeah.
But you will get negative comments in there, and we've not had many, to be fair, not at all. And of course the temptation is to try and respond to everyone, which is just a stupid thing
You
to
can't do that.
So you just let it ride, but you've got to develop a there is a genuine answer for all of these things. But I won't use this as my channel for venting that.
No, I mean, go ahead. I mean, if you want to call, if you want to list kind of usernames,
Call
you can call
Steve.
them. calling out, hairy basement dweller Stew 47. No.
Who said?
He said the following.
You're wrong.
You're actually wrong because it's blue. So there you go. So there you go. But there are rumours that you are going about work now wearing a T-shirt that says "Check out the size of my Kickstarter." Is this true?
I think yeah, something like that. I think the thing that's changed for me is just when we went to Dragon Meet, because we wanted to do a couple of shows mid-campaign if we could, and it just so happened there was Glasgow Games Festival was on,
yes.
And so that was an easy one.
How did that go?
And that was good fun. It was, I'll be honest, it was a bit quiet at first when we got in, but it did pick up, and I think the guys probably suffered because we went up into the concert hall and there was no there was no advertising at all as to where it actually was.
Right, okay.
And it was 2 floors up and so forth. Once you got there, it was fine. But we were very fortunate there because there's a lovely guy, it's Brian. I think it's Brian Robson. I'm sure is his surname. He was there with his lad. They were playing. Do you know the game V Commandos?
Yeah, I've heard of it.
It's come out. Yeah. That came out of the expo last year. I'm sure it's a guy in Quebec that made it, and it looked really, really cool. I never got a chance to see it, but it looked really cool. And this Brian was round then. And so keep the Scottish angle up, and he was asking me all about the game because he's from Edinburgh. So he was there with his lad playing it, and he wanted to get the first game in, and thankfully he played it, and he said that was awesome. Put that on Board Game Geek and said, just so that everybody's clear, it might look complicated, but once you've actually played it, you'll get it no problem. And my son loved it, and he said it was awesome. So that was great.
That's fantastic.
That was really great.
That's fantastic.
And then if you want to stick with the Scottish culture, somebody asked, why are you doing the cave set before the sewer set? That's what we got asked.
Yeah, I saw that question.
Right, so we went back and said, well, just because when I was on holiday down in Cornwall, there was a mine down there. It was an amazing place to go, right down there, Geever Tin Mine, which is what the cave set is based on largely.
Oh, right.
Because you get to walk around it and so forth. But because we tried to do some research on what actually happens and what cave-ins mean and so forth, rather than down sewers. And he put up a video. Now nobody listens to this unless they're Scottish will get this at all. But chewing the fat. Yeah. Remember chewing the fat?
Yeah, I remember chewing the fat.
And so the infamous 2 blokes going down the sewers sketch and all the horrible things that they play with down there.
Right.
He said, so what was that? What your research was? 2 Scottish guys down. So yeah, exactly.
Sake.
So yeah, I'll let people look at Board Game Geek to see what on earth that was about. But yeah, that was Brian. Thanks for that, mate.
Thumbs up and everything like that.
Yes, so that was Glasgow. But Dragon Meet was really cool because people were actually coming up to us and go, "Hey, you're inspiring games." And one lady came up to me. I'd never met her before in my life, and said, "What you're doing for the industry in the country is fantastic." And I said, "Whoa.
What have I done now?
Who are you talking to here exactly?"
Looking behind you and going,
yeah, I was like, me. But she just said, I caught it in the news, and I just like the fact that you're. I'm trying to remember the phrase she put. Just like the fact that you've taken it from nothing and really doing well.
The little engine that could.
Something like that.
Something like that. Is your I mean, what does your wife think of all of this? Is she
I do love my wife to bits. Let's get that one in straight away.
Let's do that. We've got that on record now. Do you want to say it again, just in case?
I love my wife to bits, absolutely. There you go. But so Aileen, my wife, is incredibly. She is incredibly supportive. She's given me the time to do this, which is wonderful. But she is, and this is no bad thing. She is a non-gamer, chartered accountant, very risk-averse person. So she has been humouring me for the past 3 years. And to be fair, I get that because I would be the same, going, really, really, are you going to make any money? Seriously, etc., etc.
Yeah, yeah.
And I didn't go away going, I'm just going to prove it to you at all. I just said, these things can make money if you
Let's see
if you
what
get them right.
happens.
Yeah, and probably the best compliment I got from her the other day. I was around. It was my mother-in-law's birthday actually, so I said to all the guys in the comment section, "I am downing tools. I have got important stuff to do. It
Yes.
doesn't involve this just now. Yeah, I'm off to do that." And it was my father-in-law who said at the time, "So how's this game going thing? How's it going, lad?"
Yeah.
I said, "Oh, we're up to 92." And he said, "What, 92 people want to buy your game? That's fantastic." And I was like, "No, no, not quite what I mean." And then, so of course I showed the number, and that was when my wife said, "No, no, no, Kevin is doing very well." And that was it. Trust me, that's the biggest
That's what you
compliment
want, wasn't it?
ever.
That's what you
Yeah,
want.
exactly.
It doesn't
Yeah.
matter if people say you're fantastic, you're amazing. Look at that. Everywhere Kevin goes, there is rainbows and kittens and smiles and stuff like that. It's just the fact your wife turned around and went, he's done very well.
He's done very
That
well.
means
That's a
more than
huge,
anything.
yeah. It does, and again, I definitely want to bring this back to Hugh as well. Hugh's a massive part of that success story. The funny thing we got is that on day one, somebody said, "Could this be the next the next exploding kittens?" And we're like, "What?" It was an odd thing to say, and we were like, "It's not even the same kind of game or anything." And we didn't want it to go down that route at all, because we've always done the whole Scottish thing of, "Don't you jinx it, son. Don't you go jinxing
Don't
it."
say anything at all.
Don't say anything.
We're just going to leave it. Because there's going to be
Yeah.
something's going to happen. Kickstarter's
Something
going to
will
crash.
Yeah, something will happen.
Something will happen. But everything, no, I mean, it's just, it's one of these, I think it's one of these campaigns that people will look back on and they'll say, well, that was the kind of the beginning of things, I guess, which is very positive. It's nice to get a really, really positive story going around at the moment. And I think that a lot of people have caught on and, as I say, because you're very humble with it as well, because there's a lot of humility about you. You've not come on and went, well, you can speak to me, but it'll only be like 25 minutes, because I'm pure dead famous. And, you've always kind of maintained that, which, you're always, you have a laugh and you've been a down-to-earth chat anytime we've spoken as well. So, but it is a bit of good news. I think people wanted to, when it's kind of success is kind of in kind of, I guess, growing success. You've had people back it. That's been more people have backed it. It's kind of growing kind of exponentially. Yeah. It's been kind of very, 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 very good with that. What is, when it hits 11 o'clock on Thursday, when the campaign finishes, do you have a bottle of bubbly sitting there ready to go? I mean, will you see, where's Hugh based? Is Hugh based?
Hugh, so I'm in Linlithgow and Hugh's in Edinburgh.
Right, okay.
Neither of us actually drink that much, to be honest with you, but I've got somebody gave me.
Will it be a cheeky bottle of ginger then?
Yeah, something like that. So somebody gave me some beers a wee while back, and I said, "Oh well, I'll have a go if I hit 12k. I might have a beer." And I genuinely don't actually. All the Scottish joking apart, I don't really drink that much. Yeah, and I said, "Oh, maybe have one of those if I hit 12 grand." And I mean this in the most humble way I can. I didn't get the chance because it was just an insane evening that evening.
What was it? 8 hours, wasn't it? I'm surprised.
Yeah, it was like
you pressed the go button and then you put the kettle on to have a cup of tea, and then by the time the kettle boiled, you'd funded.
Yeah, well, something like that. And I got to 3 o'clock, and I was like, I don't really want to have a beer now. I'm going to go to bed and then come back up and figure out what is going on with this insane whirlwind. So yeah, I'm gonna have a wee. I think I'm gonna have just a wee drink on Thursday. I might have a wee whiskey actually. After we finish, because I can now say it went now that we funded.
I know.
Done that.
I just remember us joking after the show. We, saying, well, if you actually said the lines, well, I'll tell you what, if we fund, we'll have another show. And I was like, yeah, because I had we had a good laugh.
We had a good laugh, yeah.
And then I was like sitting there, I was like, I think I was delighted when it did fund. Actually, I was kind of like this. And I was like, well, how quickly is it before we get him back on again?
Yeah.
Do we leave it a couple of weeks? But now seemed the right
No,
time to get you kind of back on.
no, it is wonderful to come back on, and I think Thursday will be a. We're trying to figure out what to do. We're trying to figure out what is a really cool thing we can give back to the guys on the forum, because there are some genuinely amazingly nice people on that forum. In fact, nobody's been horrible. I just want to be clear on that. Everybody's been super nice.
Yeah.
We got a couple of things, people saying I wouldn't do it that way, and a couple of people saying it's too many updates. Stop, Chief, just shut up.
Yeah.
But apart from that, everybody's been super nice and supportive, so thank you for that. But we still want to give back more, because we want to be the guys that do that. So we've planned something really special for 100k, which might go completely Pete Tong, might go absolutely.
This is when it.
When I use the word, it's a world first, I think. We'll see.
Gold-plated decks for everybody.
Yeah. Everybody gets a free bottle of whiskey.
And then you realise you've got 2,500 people you've got to give that
to. So we're trying to do something, and something that will, but it will. Oh, I may as well just say it since I'm looking at it just now. It will require those that wish to be active on the forums to be active on the forums.
Oh, cool.
So that'll be. We think that that's better than us doing some kind of party, because we're treating it like that anyway. It's more of a let's get everybody involved.
Well, you know what we can do? We can have a chat after we've finished very quickly and decide when this little fabulous episode is going to drop. So don't worry about. I'm not going to drop any mad spoilers on anybody at all. Because I think we wouldn't want to ruin it at the very very.
No,
last
it's. I think that's fine. I mean, it's joking apart. The hardest thing actually for us is we do need to go to bed at some point, and if it's if it always seems to happen that we hit a stretch goal at round about midnight when it's like, I want to go to bed now. But I suppose mathematically it makes sense, because 50% of our funders are in North America, and when we're going to bed, the East Coast are at that kind of post-dinner switch on mobile phone.
Absolutely, yeah.
So there's probably some science
lunchtime in kind of West Coast thing, is it as well? So
8
hours.
Yeah.
You're 8 hours ahead kind of there as well. So that'll be about 4 o'clock-ish. So it depends. It depends where they are. We always do shout-outs on the show. So, I mean, we'll put this out in. Is there any kind of shout-outs you want to give? Is there messages you want to give to the backers, to anybody else around? Anything like that you'd like to say on, I guess, in tape, in vocal format? I know you write stuff down, but is there anything?
I think the ones for inspiring games, obviously you've got Hugh and Scott, which we've done, and there's a guy called Rob McCarg, who is our kind of principal playtester. He's playtested this game for 3 years, and a lot of the stuff in it, like the passing around advantage and disadvantage, are his ideas. And Rob is also, you'd be glad to know, the guy that tends to come up with names for our games, because I'm awful at that. I really do suck at it. If you let me name them, you'd never buy it. So he's good at that. So poor Rob yesterday, I've still to actually get to the bottom of this. I just said, look, I'll be in touch, mate. I think he's had some horrendous and poor guy Lemsip accident, where, as in, he's gonna have to go into hospital to make sure he's not got any burns. I get the impression he's sitting at home playing the computer now, having a beer. So good on you, Rob. But it's a big shout out to Rob. Poor guy. But I think he's okay. I actually gave him a beer advent calendar. He did the dry November thing.
Oh right, okay.
So I got him. He's having a beer a day in December as a thank you.
Good. Good.
So I don't know if that was before or after the thing. And just some of the backers I wanted to name really were there's a lady called Renee who is so obsessed with dice add-ons it is untrue. So we finally got them to her.
Yes. I saw these. These are the clear dice.
The clear gem dice for the dragon. And there's far too many to name, so sorry guys. But Renee was one I wanted to mention, and another one is a guy called Ryan Bird. purely because it is unbelievable how he knows what we're going to do next. And I've never even met this guy, and he's figured it all out every single time. He's like, "You're going to do this next, aren't you?" I was like, "Yes." Have you been in my house?
Oh,
I mean,
my
he really
goodness.
does get it.
Yeah.
It's impressive. So yeah, but as I say, there's far too many. I'm reading them just now. They're just lovely people. So
Fantastic.
to all of the guys that are backing us, a huge thanks from the IG team.
Brilliant.
It's great, and thanks to you guys for giving us the chance to come back on again as well.
It was always, it was always a given. I'm never ever going to better that train spotting line. Never.
Yeah, no, that was
That's never ever
awesome.
going to be bettered.
Was...
After that, I was always tempted to shut everything down and say, right, that's it. No more podcast.
We've peaked.
We've reached peak. We've reached peak pundom,
I was going to. I was hoping I've done something in GIMP and give you a little cool, Richard and Kev Boy or something.
You and me running down running down Princess Street. Like one of us is
like
Rent and the other one is was it Spud or Spud?
Yeah. I was hoping to. It never happened, and I think the backers
It's
can
probably
start spending time on the game.
It's probably a good idea that it probably didn't happen. I mean, it's one of these lovely stories that you like to pick up. It's it's been an inspiring campaign, and that's probably that should have actually been the title for the show. Just none of the hodgepodge excited nonsense that I came out with the beginning, but it's been a legendary and inspiring campaign. I think it's probably about there. Because otherwise, I'm just going to sound like a sycophantic guy that's trying to be your best pal, and you just be like, "Leave me alone." I've got 97k. Leave me alone. And the backers are probably still going up as we kind of speak. Listen, thank you for coming on again.
No, thank you.
It's been as normal. It's been interesting to kind of to hear a bit more about what's going on and. Thursday we'll roll round. I've no doubt that you're gonna break, or hopefully you'll break your 100k, and there'll be celebrations and those little and going about as well.
Yeah, big rewards for all the backers.
Sounds
so we're really
fantastic.
keen to get that, folks. Yeah,
sounds very, very good. If people want to track you down, you've got your Inspired Tribe Twitter account, haven't you?
That's right.
You can find. You've got Facebook as well, which is
Inspiring Games.
You've got inspiringgames.com as
That's
far as the website goes as well, so you can track you down there, which I've been doing, on a regular basis.
Yeah.
As stalkering that I am.
We do need to get a better website and branding at that. Now that we've got a few quid, we might do that.
Quid, you can you can update your WordPress skin.
Yes.
For anybody that wants to keep in contact with us, we, if you Google We're Not Wizards, you're going to find us on Instagram, on YouTube. We've got a little YouTube channel going. There's nothing on it just now, but we're planning on putting previous episodes on. You can get us in the usual places. You can get us on Stitcher. You can get us on iTunes. You can get us on Acast. Find us on Podbean. If you find us on Twitter, you'll find us at We're Not Wizards, and we're also on Facebook at We're Not Wizards. If you want to email us, and we're building up the schedule for 2017 already, and we have got some exciting people. Not as exciting as Kevin, I'd like to say, but just, maybe 2 or 3 points below Kevin, I would say, but still very exciting.
Stop it.
You can come and email us on info@we'renotwizards.com or .co.uk. There is only one thing that we always have to, and we have to ask the question as always, and we have to make this statement, is that to remember that we are many things, but we're not wizards. Are we wizards, Kevin?
We are not wizards.
Definitely not wizards.
Definitely
not. No, not even in the dark. Not even facing the orcs.
No.
Keep our wands away.
No.
Listen, it's been a pleasure having you on. Fantastic.
Thank you.
We'll be keeping up to speed with the campaign. Looking forward to seeing when it launches and when everybody can get their hands on it as well. But until then, it's time to say goodbye. So it's a goodbye from me, which is a big, huge goodbye. Goodbye from Kevin.
Goodbye, everyone. Thank you.
And again, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening. Always roll sixes. Stay safe. Stay out of the shadows. Stay in the lights. Do whatever you do. But if you haven't backed the game, you've not got that much time to go. So do it now and do it quickly. And have a good evening. Goodbye.